doesn't seem to be working. Hello, welcome to, let's see, this is called Advanced Customization and Branding, presented by Remote Backup Systems. I'm Rob Cosgrove, founder and CEO. With me today is Gautam Tiruvanallur. He's the lead developer here. During this seminar, we're going to cover some advanced topics, and we're going to have to go fast because there are a lot of things to talk about. I'm not sure if we'll get around to very many questions, if any. Today we're going to talk about everything involved with advanced customization and branding. There are over 100 ways that you can customize and brand the software by changing things as simple as pushing a button or two to having to change registry keys. There are files that we're going to go over that you'll have to modify with Notepad. Now, luckily, you've got notes for this seminar, and I'll show you where to find them. They're on our website. So if you go here to, let's see, Support and Users Manuals, you'll come to this screen, and the file that we want to start with is this one, the RBackup Server Help file. And that file is right here. Scroll first down to where it says Customize Client Installer.
Customizing the client installer.
Oh, customizing the client installer. Okay.
It's down. Yep.
Got it. Okay. All right. There are two pieces to the client software. One of them is the client software itself, which can be customized. And the other is the installer itself. Now, the installer is written by InstallShield, and we've modified it for our software. There are many things that you can edit for the installer. You can change the product name, the company name, the screen captions. These are the things that show up in the installer when the software is first installed. I'll show you this. Let's see. Have I got an installer here? Yes, I've got one. Here it is right here. I'm going to close the running software. Okay, right here where it says Remote Backup 2007, this is configurable. So is this. You know what? This is going to do an upgrade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I probably should uninstall the software. Yeah. Okay. But in doing that, I can show you something else that's also configurable. Start, Control Panel, Add, Remove Programs.
Close the client system tray.
Okay, and then scroll down until we find Remote Backup 2007. Okay, remove it. The name of the software here is configurable. And so is all the information that you get when you say click here for support information. We'll have a look at that a little bit later. Okay, good. All right, now let's install it. This is the client installer, just an exe file. Okay, good. Here's the first screen in the installer. Right here, can this be changed, Gautam?
Yes.
Yeah, all of this can be changed. All right. And this is the name of the software, and this is the name of the software. I'm going to show you how to change all that. Okay, this is the setup file itself. I closed that, didn't I? Okay, the installer is completely run by a setup file called clsetup.ini. In order to edit this file, you'll need Microsoft Notepad, which we have right here. Here's the actual file. And we're going to look through the documentation, then go back to that file. The product name is the name of your software, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it John's Backup. Now, the company name is the company name of your company. This is what shows up in the Add Remove programs when you click those advanced options. All right, screen captions. This is what shows up in the upper left corner of all the screens. That's called the caption. And if we change that, we can change it to like that. The target directory is the directory on your hard drive where the software will be installed. It's only the default directory. Most people want to change that, so you can change that to John's Backup. Don't use illegal characters for file names in there, and an apostrophe won't work, I don't think. Okay. Now, let's see. The folder name where we're going to put this is also Backup. The title for, let's go see what this is. I think I'll just go down this. Okay, the help title is the label of the shortcut in the user documentation. When the software installs on your computer, it'll install let's go look at programs, and let's see, remote backup. Okay, I guess we didn't install help file on this one, but when the help file is installed, it has a link that you can call whatever you want, and in the default is documentation right here, but if you want to call it anything, you can do that. Okay. The help link is a link for the help file, and it can be a link to a web-based help file. Many people want to put their help online, and this system can call a web-based HTML file if you want to do that. And then you don't have to distribute the help file with the software. If you leave it blank, then the default is used, which ships with the software, and it's called rbackup.chm. The publisher information right here is who publishes the software, and you can change this to your company name as well. This shows up in the Add Remove programs, and so does the owner. These are many ways that you can make your software your own. The URL, you can change that to your own URL. And the check for update shortcut, this is used for when you want to use the RBS update program to automatically update your software, and it's the URL that's used for the RBS update utility, which we're not going to cover in this session. Now, if you want to add your own user license file, you can do so here. Don't enter a driver or path, and this value should be a name only. File type can be a text file with a TXT extension, or our favorite rich text format file, which has an RTF extension. This will display during installation. Let's see if we can go ahead and do that. I'm going to click Next. It'll display RBS's standard software license agreement as it does here in this screen. But if you've got your own license agreement defined in here, then it will display that after this in its own screen, and the user must accept the terms of the agreement or the software won't install. Okay. Normally, the software installs a desktop shortcut. If you answer yes to disable desktop shortcut, this one, then it will not install that shortcut. Some people don't want to see that on the desktop. Let's see, that was a startup shortcut, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was. Okay, that's the startup shortcut, sorry. And this is the desktop shortcut. You can also disable the welcome screen. Here in the, let me see if I can get back to the welcome screen. This is the welcome screen. If you don't want to see this screen, then you can disable it. You can type yes here. The destination screen is the one that displays after the license agreement file. It's this screen. If you don't want to display this screen, you can answer yes to this one. And many people don't want the user to be able to select the destination for the software. So they don't want that screen. Okay. Shortcut command is, this is the name of the program that gets executed when any of the shortcuts to start the client software are clicked. Normally, the software is going to start rbackup.exe, which is the system tray application that shows up down in the system tray. Usually, rbackup.exe runs alone, and when it's time for a backup, it launches rbclient.exe. Some people who don't want to use who don't want to use our task scheduler, set the shortcut command to be the name of rbclient instead of rbackup, so that when you double-click that shortcut, it runs the backup software itself. Okay. Also, you can enter a shortcut parameter. It's the parameter that's passed by the shortcut to the program. Here's an example of something you might want to do with this. You might want to have several shortcuts on a desktop, each one of them with a different command, parameter, and each one of them calling rbclient.exe. The parameter could be any number of the optional parameters. It can be the name of a backup set, in which case you can have one icon on your desktop for each backup set, and your user can click each one of them to start that particular backup set. Normally, when the software is installed, it runs the client application at the end of the installation. If you don't want that, then you can change the value of disable rbackup.exe. This one right here to yes. Also, at the end of the installation, InstallShield keeps track of how it replaces files and how it adds files. Some files need to be some files require the computer to be rebooted. If you're replacing a system file or a file that's in use by another application, InstallShield will queue it for replacement only after the computer has been rebooted, and then it'll give you that really familiar message that says this computer must be rebooted to finish the application. For the sake of consistency in their documentation, some users want to boot the computer every single time. Sometimes this is a good idea. We don't recommend it, but some users want that, and so we've put it in there. You never know when InstallShield is going to need to reboot the computer. It's different on every computer. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Reboot text is the text that's displayed in the prompt when a reboot is required. And you can change that. Normally, it defaults to the typical default text. While you're running your, while you're building your installer using this clsetup.ini file, you may want to test it. So, if you do, you can change this to yes. This is called Test Installer. So, at the end of the installation, the installer will uninstall the software immediately without a reboot. And this is so that you can run the installer over and over again quickly to test it, to make sure that you've got all of the strings set up the way you want them to, and all of the captions and all of this. It just saves a little time when you're debugging your installer. Okay. The title caption is displayed at the top left of all the installation screens. That's right here. So you can change this by changing the title caption. Setup message. Hang on. Let's go back to this. setup message, this is available for each screen. So in the welcome screen, okay, forget what I just said. The title caption is in the upper left corner all the way. This is it right here in the blue part. For each of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens that you could potentially have during a client installation, you can change both the title caption and the text, and in some cases also the question. So in this case, the title caption is Remote Backup 2007, and the setup message says, Welcome to Remote Backup 2007 Setup. This wizard will guide you through installing this software. Let's go have a look at that. Well, okay, we've modified it a little bit. This text is the text that we're talking about. That can be edited. The license screen, which we've already seen, you can change the title caption here, and you can change the verbiage for the questions here. Some people want to have different verbiage for a lot of this stuff, and so this is how you can do it. Okay, the next is for the user license. In case you have applied your own license with this screen right here, with this variable, then you can also modify the screen that comes up, title caption and 2 questions. Destination screen is this one. You can change the caption and the questions. And then there's a finished. Let's go ahead and install it. This text is, I'm going to go, in a minute I'll go through the rest of the text that you can also modify here. There's some other things. I'm going to answer no to this so we don't have to reboot. And the software is installed. So in this case, we've set finish screen to be off, and I'll show you where that is. Is anybody asking questions yet?
No.
Okay, good. Everybody understands it. Okay. Now, let's go have a look at a file called, let's see, it's the LNG file. Yadam, where do we explain where that's?
Oh, the language file?
Language file?
It's in
here?
It's in that section.
Okay.
No, not in that one.
No? In this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go have a look. Oh, no, we were here. Right, okay. Well, let me just go on. Let me go on with this. The registry settings file is rbackup.reg. This is where you change some defaults where the client software installs. You may want it to install with different options or acting different ways. Everything in the rbackup.reg file pertains to the client software itself. So we're beyond the installer right now. Here's what the rbackup.reg file asks by default. And here's how you can edit it. When you change install OFA, legal values are yes and no and ask. Right now we've got it set up to ask. So you saw the question that said, do we want to install Open Files Management? If you put yes here, then the Open Files agent will be installed regardless. There will be no question, it'll just install it. If you put no here, there'll be no question and it won't install it. If you put ask, then it'll act like it just did, which means it's going to ask you whether you want to install it or not. You can also force the client to install as a service, same way. If you enter yes here, this is it right here. If you enter yes, it'll install as a service. If you enter no, it'll install as an application. And if you enter ask, it'll ask the user if he wants to install it as a service. The verbiage for these questions, when they ask the display here for install OFA and install service, are going to be covered later. They're in a different file. pause mode. This one. Pause mode controls the display of the pause button on the file transfer progress screen. It's either true or false, and it has to be spelled just like that with a capital F or a capital T. True turns the pause button on, and false turns it off. PF menu controls the availability of the print disaster recovery menu choice under the help menu. PF menu is here. Now again, you're going to use Notepad for this. So this.
There's a question, where are these files located? CL setup INI and our backup.reg.
Gallum, I'm surprised. I thought you knew that.
It's in the servers client folder by default, and the C program files RBS server and client.
That's right. Okay. Normally there's an option to have the user print the encryption key file and print the screen that displays the key file information. I think that's usually off. You can turn it on if you want to.
It's on by default. You
Okay,
can turn
good.
it off if you want.
Okay. Auto update. That's either true or false, and it has to be spelled with capital T or capital F. It controls the client's auto update feature, which uses the RBS update utility, which is shipped with all software, but it's shipped turned off because it takes a little extra configuration, which we are not going to have time to cover today. If it's set to true, the client software is going to automatically check for a software update every time it's run, and if it's set to false, it won't. If an update is found, RBS Update will download and install the update silently. And this RBS Update utility is very powerful, and it can be configured many different ways. Update info. Let's see. It's a URL of the RBS Update file. This is the file that's read by the RBS Update utility, and it's always a text file, TXT, and it lives on a web server someplace. It does not have to be on the same server as the RBS server software. Okay, here's the file that controls all the text in the installer. It's called default.lng, and this file is also in the client folder below the RBS server folder on your RBS server computer. This is all the text. It's even warnings and errors that you just don't see. For example, I don't think we've ever seen this error at all, but it can happen theoretically, and so we've got an error message for it. These are all self-explanatory. We've named the variable exactly what it's supposed to be. And usually you can just leave this as the default. However, some people may want to add additional warnings. For example, this is the one that gets displayed when the customer wants to uninstall the software. And you may want to put here a question, please go to our website and let us know why you're uninstalling our software, or a link to a survey. This is the message that gets displayed when you've got ask in the ask install service variable we talked about it a few minutes ago. And this one says install as a Windows service, and some customers don't understand what that means, so you may want to explain it further. You can type as long as you want in there. I think the limit is 254 characters. I don't think we need any more explanation of that. They're all, you can just read and tell what it says.
Yeah.
Okay, there's yet another file that you can edit. This is called the setup.ini file. And this file is installed in the same folder as the rest of them, in the client folder below the RBS server. These are the very, very first things that get installed by the installer. These, you may want to change some of these. This is where you would change, don't ever change the product GUID. Don't ever change the, you can change the app name. Here, let's just go through this. App name is the name of your application. It's normally the product name, same as you set up up in clsetup.ini, and don't put it in quotes. Let's see, small progress, right here. Small progress, if it's set to yes, to Y, it uses a small initialization dialog instead of the normal larger one that it ships with by default. CMD line, I suggest leaving that blank unless you really want to dive into this. It's used when running setup.exe from the following list. A / is part of the command. /s tells it to run in silent mode. This installs the RBS client software silently, displays absolutely nothing. You're going to have to first read running the client installation in silent mode in the chapter on advanced customization first before you do this. In order to do this, you have to set up a macro file that the installer reads all of its responses from. So instead of reading a response from the keyboard typed in by the user, it'll read the response from the macro file that you ship with it. That file is also included in the client folder. F1 specifies an alternate response file name and path. So the response file, the macro file I was talking about, is usually setup.iss. If you want to provide a different one, then you can rename it there. I can't find a reason to rename it. Hide progress, this suppresses the initialization dialog. So this dialog is the one that shows up when you install the software. It's the very first thing that shows up, and it's used to, it's displayed when the software is setting itself up to do the installer. That's the small version of it. So if you've got, let's see, if you've got small progress here. If you've got small progress set to Y, you'll get this one. If you've got small progress set to N, you'll get this one, which is the default.
The bigger one.
Bigger one's the default.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's how to customize the installer. Are there any questions about this?
No.
Okay. Boy, that was boring. All right. Let's see. I'm going to turn it over to Gautam now, and Gautam's going to go into further customization. He's going to show you how to customize the graphics and the icons and a lot of other things.
Okay. Okay. The topic that I'm going to cover is in the help file. You need to select Customize Client Installer. So that's the one that I've opened on the screen. Customize Client Installer. Let's see. So let me bring up the server software so you can run that tool and do some customizations. Oh, that's the wrong. Where is the server? Oh, there it is. Okay. To get to the Customize Client Installer, from the RBS Manager, you select Tools and Customize Client Installer. Okay. Something wrong with this installer. Let's quit that. I think something changed when you reinstall the software, Rob.
Okay. It's okay to blame it on me, Gautam.
Let me try this again.
Okay, now you're doing things that nobody should ever do, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. There it is. To get to the Customize Client Installer, select from the Manager, Tools, and Customize Client Installer. We've done the initial basic setup the last webinar, I believe. So we're going to go through the advanced setup in this client installer. So the basic settings are the IP address, or your domain name, or the address of your server, the RBS server. And I think I've just I'm just going to skip through the basic settings because we've covered it in the last webinar. And I'm just going to move over to the change text portion, which is where the branding comes into play. So this is where you type in your company name, which will appear in all the screen captions. That's on the top left-hand corner of all the client's interface. So this is going to be your software name, let's say John's Backup, and this is the text that appears in the print key form when you first install. After the key disk prompt, you'll be prompted to take a printout of the key disk, the key information itself. The text on that print key can also be customized, and this is where you customize the information. This is the default text. You can add your own text, and I think it's limited to 280 characters. The next option in this tab here is the menu options, where you can customize and add your own menu options to the client interface. This section here, which says custom sub menu option, is for a menu option under the help menu. So let's go. Right now under the help menu there are two options called help and about. So you can add your own custom menu option underneath the help menu. So let's call it online help for now, and this can be a URL which can link to your online website or online help, and that's the menu option under the help menu. To add your own top level menu option, like for example on this manager, file, server, view, you can add your own top level. So beside the help on the client interface, you'll have your own top level menu option, and the name is the custom menu caption. So let's say you want an additional menu option, let's say contact us, and you can have up to 3 different menus underneath that top level menu. So let's create one. Let's call it email, and this can be a link to let's say an online page or something like that. It has to be a URL or a link, and it can link to anything on your website, and you can add up to 3 sub-level menu options. Then this is where you mention whether you want to include the user license agreement, which is supplemental service and license agreement. By default it is set to no. So if you want the user to agree to your license apart from our license, you can say yes, and right now there is no agreement that's in the client folder, so it'll ask you, do you want to create one? If you say yes, you can just copy paste or type in your license agreement here. So for now I'm just going to type in some text in here and then save, and it automatically, if you build an installer now, that user license.txt file gets included in the client installer, and it will get displayed during installation. That's the change text tab. And then moving on to the client logs. These are the different options or menu options or the features on the client which you can turn on and off. By default everything is on the client side, so if you want to turn off certain features, like if you don't want the client to change the file selection, you can select that option. If you don't want the client to mess with any of the file menu itself, you can select that. Or if you don't want the client to delete files from server, you can select that option, and these options will be disabled on the client side. For now I'm going to just select these 3 options, and moving on to the next tab is the...
Can I ask a question about a previous tab?
Yeah.
Back in the change text tab,
Yeah.
Where it says include the user license in this, does this actually modify the setup.ini file or clsetup.ini file, or is this a different one? Because we told one of those ini files to include a user license. Is this a different thing we have to do?
I mean, in the CL setup INI, if you want to change the name of the user license agreement, you can do so there. But this is the variable that gets triggered while installing. Okay. So you have to set this to yes. Only then the installer looks for that file name in the CL setup INI and launches it.
Okay. then I misspoke then.
Okay. Let's see. By default, the file name is userlicense.txt. I don't see why anyone has to change that. So um, let's go back to the change display. There are two screens that the user normally sees when he launches the software, the client program. The one that gets displayed during the initial launch is a splash screen. You can customize that. If you want to preview this, this is the default one. Okay.
This takes a long time to load.
Okay.
Don't unload it after this. It'll make things go quicker.
Okay. All right. That's the default splash screen. So if you want to customize your own and add your own splash screen, it has to be the same dimensions as this default. I don't remember the exact dimensions of this one. I think it's about 475 to 200 or something like that. But it's in the help file. So that's the splash screen. If you want to replace the splash screen with your own, you can click on replace and select wherever your replace. I mean, it should be the same file name, even though you replace the actual bitmap. Make sure that the file name remains the same. So redirect. If you want to redirect the location for the bitmap, just select the replace option and select wherever your customized icon is, and it will be included in the installer itself. The next one here is the About screen, which gets displayed whenever the user selects Help and About on the client software. To preview this, this is the About screen. So you can customize that as well and replace with your own bitmap. Again, the dimensions needs to be correct. If not, you might get run into some problems. Let's see if the dimensions are specified in here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, but you can open it in any kind of editor, and you can see the dimensions for this splash and About screens.
That's what I usually suggest. I just tell them to open it up like we've done in PageShop Pro, and then just edit it right there.
Right. Okay. So that's about the splash and About screen. Now moving on to the icons. This is the icons that appear everywhere in the client software, in the client interface, the system tray icon. So if you want to customize these, you can do so. And let's see. Okay. So the pixels are each are. I mean, let's see. This particular icon, rbicon.ico, appears in all the captions on all the client interfaces, which is the upper left corner, this one right here, or on this one. The rb1.ico is the icon that gets displayed in the system tray, this is the system tray icon, which is 16 by 16 pixels, and you can replace that as well with your own icon. And RB icon 3 and 4 gets displayed when you do a test connection or when you do a backup. It gets displayed in the progress window, which will be the circling arrow. You might have seen that. So you can replace that two icons. These two icons are like mirror images of each other. So you can
toggle back and forth during the progress so that it appears to show a little movement on the screen. That's all this is used for.
Right. So again, if you want to replace any of these icons or all the icons, you can click on replace and select the icon for replacement. Again, the file names need to be the same, so don't change the file names. Okay, so that's about the customization of icons. Now there are two files in the client folder, so let's go to the client folder. There are two executables right here, actually three executables. They're called rbackup.exe, rbclient, and rbsupdate. As you can see, the icon for these executables is the default icon. So if you want to change the icons on these three executables, you can do that as well. And that's the change exe icons. So you select the exe file. Let's say I want to change the icon of this exe, and let's say I want to use my own custom icons for this. Let's say I want to use this icon and click on change. It should be the right icon size. So let's go back and pick another one. It should be 32 by 32. hopefully this is 32 by 32. Yeah, it is. So if you click on change, whatever the custom icon that you provide will be replaced for that exe file. So let's go back to this screen here, and as you can see, the icon is different now. It's applied my own custom icon to that exe file. So that way you can change. Similarly for RB client and RBS update, you can change the exe icons. So any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's move on to the next tab in here. I think we've discussed this in the last session. The backup settings are all by default set to the recommended settings, but if you want to change the default encryption method,
I'll come back out back in. Go ahead. You keep going, can you talk? I cut it off?
oh, I can talk. Okay, yeah. Okay, we had a small problem with the audio here, so okay. All right, the default encryption method by default is selected as Blowfish. So if you want to default it to something else on the client software, you can change it here. Transfer verification, what this actually means is after a file transfer, the client verifies with the server whether the file has been transferred successfully, meaning it just checks to see that all the bytes and bits have made it across successfully. So that's the transfer verification, and you can do it file by file or at end. At end means it does a batch of a batch of files get transferred, which is controlled by queue limit, which we will see in the next tab called Advanced. The queue limit by default is set to 250 files. So what this means is after every 250 files get transferred to the server, then the transfer verification happens to all those files. So but it's recommended that it file by file be set. So that's the recommended setting. I wouldn't suggest changing that. I don't see any need, and there won't be any performance variations if you set it from one method to another. I think at end is a bit faster, but not by. It doesn't make much of a difference. The log level is standard by default. You can increase it if you want to have more details in the logs. Processing priority is best at normal, but if you have if you want to increase it, you can do that. The temp path locations are by default ctemp and R backup, and the bit backup reference path is where the bit backup local cache is maintained. You can change that. These are the defaults. These options on the right are basically to let's see. The first option is run schedule at startup, which should be selected. Unless you don't want the client to check for any missed backups when the Windows restarts. Always store catalog. Basically, this option, if it is selected, it will send the client's catalog to the server, even though no file has changed on the client side, which is a zero file session. So if you want to send the catalog to the server, even if there is no files identified for backup, you can select this. Now the next option is hide backup progress screen during scheduled backups. So if you don't want the user to see the backup progress screen, you can select that. And stealth mode is to have the client run with no screens at all, including no startup screens. That's the backup settings.
What's the change processing priority?
That's a priority that's something with Windows where you can set the processing priority for the executable itself. So for example, if you go to Task Manager, you can right click on any of the executables and you can see the priority in here. By default, all applications are set to normal, but you can set it to high, which means the processor will give high priority over other applications.
So there are times when you might want to set this to low, I suppose. Yeah? If
Low,
it's going to run in the middle of the daytime.
I wouldn't suggest, because low means it's very low, so it could take hours.
Okay. Normal
is the best way to go. Let's see. The next tab is the Advanced tab in here. I think we've covered this last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's ask if there are any questions about anything on this screen. I don't know how many were here during the last seminar, but we did cover this then. Okay, there's no
Okay.
questions.
So do you want me to install the software so we can see all these customizations?
Wouldn't that be fun? Do we need to uninstall what we've got first?
Yeah. Unless there are any questions. So after you made all your selections and changes to the customized client installer, click on Apply. So the database itself gets initialized and all the values are saved in the different files and in the INI files and everything. So once you've applied it, you can.
You know what we can do? We can actually go into, if you want, go into Corel Paint Shop and make some edits to those two files there, so we can see that. You know how to run this?
No.
All right, trust us, people. It works.
Okay.
You want to go into the client folder and make changes to the CL setup file so we can change the company name and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'm just going to save yours to that folder. Oh, you already customized that, so I'm just going to save this.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to change all this to, let's say, okay. Alright, I'm going to build an installer. Let's see. Okay,
Now, I
create
changed
install.
test installer to yes, so you might want to change that back to no. Otherwise, it won't install the software.
Okay.
Can we have a look at the rest of this stuff, too?
Yeah.
I don't know what website is john.com. I'm a little concerned about that if we actually bring it up on screen. You might want to change that to something like msn.com or something.
Okay.
ESPN, whatever you need to do.
Okay.
You never know. It's the internet today.
I'm just going to say no to disable shortcut. Yeah, that's about it, I think.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to save it on desktop, and there is an exe icon that you can customize for this exe installer too. So if you want to, you can use the default, or you can have your own icon file.
Okay, it created the installer.
Okay, I'm going to uninstall the client. Let's see. Go to Add Remove Programs. Okay, uninstall Remote Backup. Okay, it's uninstalled now. I think there are more than one icon. Okay, this is my custom client installer, so I'm just going to launch this. Okay, like you can see, this is the first initial screen, and on the top you'll see that we've customized it, and it displays as John's Backup Installation Wizard, and this is John's Backup 2007, and this is the license agreement. I think you've disabled the welcome screen, so we didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
So if you click on next, it's supposed to show you the user license agreement, and this is the agreement that I created. So that's the user license agreement that you can include. The user has to accept that, and they can click on next. And I think you've disabled the other screen too. So
I bypassed that one, yeah.
okay. So this is defaulting to C program files, John's backup folder. I'm going to say no to that. Okay, we didn't customize the splash screen, so that's why it doesn't show up there. Let's go to program files, and let's go back here. Okay, there you go. There's John's backup. It installed all the client, the remote backup client in this customized location, which is C program files, John's backup. And let's see the screens, even the screens on all the client interfaces, like in here, remote backup has been replaced by John backup here, and on this screen as well. So all the screens will display your product name, your custom product name. Okay, like this is the main client interface, and it's been replaced with the John backup, the name on the interface. Since we didn't replace any of the icons, the icon is still the default, but if you've changed the icons, you'll see your own custom icon in this location here. That's rbicon.ico, and the one in the system tray is rbicon1.ico. Let's see, now if you do a test connection, the little circling arrow that you see in the progress bar here, the progress screen, that's the RB icon 3 and 4, which you can customize. So that's something that shows that it's doing something. So this is like 3 and 4 are the mirror images of each other.
And that didn't log in because we didn't create an account for it over on the server.
Yeah, I can create an account. Okay, so if you run a test connection again, it's going to run fine. And you can see even the information in the progress screen and everywhere, you'll see log into John's backup server as it displays here, and log off John's backup server. So everything is changed. And let's look at the menu options that we created. This is the sub-level menu option that we customized. It's called Online Help, and it takes to john.com, which doesn't exist.
Oh, good.
And this is the top level custom menu option that we created, and we had one sub level called email, and that takes to our website, remote-backup.com, but it can point to anything. So these are the custom menu options that you can include within the client interface. Okay, let's see something else. Okay, I think that's about. Oh, even the log files, if you open any of the log files, it should say John's backup everywhere. Nowhere should remote backup be mentioned. So everything will be customized according to your product name and company name. This is the About screen, and in here also everywhere you'll see About John Backup, and this is John Backup version 9.4.0. And you can change the image here, which is the About screen. Let's see. I guess that pretty much covers all the advanced customizations.
Let's go have a look at the add remove programs, because that's customized too. The more info link in there.
Okay.
And also, it shouldn't say remote backup. It should say John's backup or John backup.
Yeah. Let's see.
And it's stored on the disk now, not in the remote backup under program files, but under John backup in program files.
Okay. Yeah, it's changed to John's backup now.
And that icon would change too if we had changed the icons.
Right.
Click here. Let's see that.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the publisher, and I think that takes to msn.com. Yeah, that's the one we customized. And the owner. These are all the information that we customized in the CL setup INI file. Okay, and
Now, there have been some questions about the help files because the help files show mostly our backup, remote backup. I can show a little of that. The help files were written in a system called RoboHelp, and RoboHelp is available from, I think it's a Macromedia product. But we've included the help source file on all of the installers. So when you buy the software, let's go have a look for it here. Let's look for the server software. It's in Program Files and RBS Server and Client Help File Source. Here we go. So the Client Help File Source is distributed with all of the packages, and if you've bought this since version 9.0, you've got this. Now, this is the help file for the Exchange plugin. This is the help. Okay, that's the only other one. Everything else is in the main help file. We wrote this in RoboHelp, and RoboHelp runs with project folders or project files. So let me go and find the RoboHelp project file. There's the actual help file. It's a CHM file. And there's the RoboHelp project file. So if I double-click that, it'll bring that up in RoboHelp. And there it is. So on the right side here, I've got Microsoft Word. And on the left side, I've got, well, let's see. I could have the table of contents. There are a lot of things over here on the left side, such as ways to generate the help system. But the core of it is over here on the right. And this is where you would go in and change all of this. In fact, you could just do a global search and replace for this. And it'll replace all instances of remote backup with John's backup. And that's a simple way to do it. Edit and replace and find what remote backup and replace it with John's backup and replace all. Okay, so now it says John's backup. Now all you have to do is recompile it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a quick and easy way to tell you how to edit this help file. There are a number, other than to buy RoboHelp, which costs, I think you can buy a version of it for $499. The one we use is Enterprise, and it costs $1,000. Hardly worth it if you're going to just modify one help file. But there are also plenty of help authors on the Internet. I'll tell you one that we like to use is over on Rent-A-Coder. Rent-A-Coder.com. Over here on Rent-A-Coder, you can hire programmers and help authors to do all kinds of things. The way this works is you put a bid request in, and you tell them what you want to do. You say, look, I've got a RoboHelp help system that needs to be edited, and I'm willing to pay $50 or $100 for it. And programmers and help authors from all over the world can bid on it, and you can accept the one that you like the most. Most of these guys work from home. A lot of them are in Romania and India and Asia and places where we've got a good return on the dollar. So this is one way that you can get it done without having to buy RoboHelp yourself. I think that we're done. Are there any? Have there been any questions?
No.
Okay. Well, this has been a whirlwind of a webinar, and I'm sure there are going to be questions. If anybody has any questions, please email them to us. Thank you for attending. We hope we held your attention. We at least held 76% of your attention. Some of you have fallen asleep on your keyboards, and that's okay because I fell asleep twice during this presentation myself. And if you didn't get your question answered, please submit it by email to sales@remote-backup.com. While you're sending questions, please tell us what you'd like to see in future webinars. I know right now I'd like to have a webinar on how to run the RBS update program, and that's not scheduled yet. So if somebody will suggest that, we'll be glad to do it. If our recording worked today, we'll be able to post this webinar on our website, and it'll be under, let's see, where are the webinars posted? Let's see, there's our website. Let's go to the 500 downloads.
I don't think it's,
So,
there's no link from our website. It's actually remote-backup.com/webinar, I think. We should have an option there.
yeah, we sure should. Well, how about this? Sign up for webinars. Yeah, there we go. They're going to be posted right here. For example, here is last week's webinar. You just click replay. We're going to replace this with this week's webinar as soon as we get it posted. Thanks again for everybody who's here. Please feel free to phone us anytime, and anybody here at RBS can help you. Our telephone number is 800-945-4491, and our direct line is 901-850-9920. And this is Rob Cosgrove and Gautam Tiruvanallur. Thank you for coming.
Click on stop recording.